Hello, friends. Once again, welcome to all of you. It is very pleasing for me while welcoming you to my channel. Your appreciation is very appreciable. Thank you very much. The point that I'm going to share with you is the very recent development that has happened is that the central cabinet, particularly the Minister of Foreign Affairs and our Prime Minister, visionary Prime Minister, I would say that he is very visionary Prime Minister because of his policies really appreciable. He took forward the global southwise. There is a global south. The countries which is developing, mostly developing countries, those who have very much per capita, very less per capita income, and they are economically weaker and politically isolated in the world. And as we all know that India has got his G20 presidency through the process of G20 framework. It is not anything revolutionary that we got the G20 presidencies. Okay, so it is a kind of process gone through and we got the presidency. So we have got the because we are also the $2,000 per capita income country, less than $2,000 per capita income country. So we are also very much lacking on this front, economic front. So as we have got the presidency, I would say that this is an opportunity for India to showcase his global leadership skill. First one is that the global leadership skill is that India has the global leadership skill. This is the opportunity that I can prove that I have this skill. So as we get it, and we want those nations who are very poor, were isolated, and their voice must be heard through the India, because of these developed nations isolated the African countries, 57 African countries and other developing nations. So as a leader of global south, India is just stepping up its political and economic role. Everyone knows that India has Gini coefficient. Gini coefficient is the thing which scale up 0 to 1 in between 0 to 1 and tells us that the income inequality in the countries. So India has got the rank 0.45. Okay, so 45%. That means it is very much unequal country. Okay, so the national wealth is mostly in the case of India, the national wealth 1%, covering 45-50% of national income, and everyone knows that 50% is actually of our population have less than 8 or 10% national income contribution. So it is a very unequal kind of thing. But if you divide the India's total GDP, approximately $3.75 trillion, to the population, it get 2,000, the per capita income, $2,000 per capita income. Okay, so World Bank has already defined the poverty rate $1.9 per day If you are earning $1.9 per day, below that you are poor. Otherwise you are some kind of little bit above poverty line. Okay, so every country has different, but this is the world scale, $1.9. So I want to say that India want to showcase the leadership role, that I am able to do it, to lead the country, lead the world, because we are going to, Mr. Jaishankar, our foreign affairs minister, always pretending or showing that India wants to become the global leader of global south. Global south means those voices which were isolated from the developed nations because they were not too much rich economically. So in proportion of that, they doesn't get their political political share in the world affairs. So if you see the United Nations General Assembly, they have got one vote. Everybody has one vote. 200 approximately 193 countries are there. Everyone has one vote. But if you come to G20, G20 has very developed and developing countries, both are in the domain. But those countries which has the economic wealth, as you know, India is 5th rank. This time India succeeded UK, United Kingdom, in economic front, and he got the 5th rank in the global economy. So these top 20 economies is being in a group. So this G20 actually 70 to 85% of GDP is being operated into this system, and 65% population is also comes into the picture. So the India wants to lead this global south, and its two target: Indian export will be there, India investment will be there as an economic front, and India wants to exploit the political front as well at the same time. These two, हमारे यहाँ एक कहावत है, एक तीर से दो निशाने, है ना? With one arrow there is two aim. Okay. So India is targeting this, and he is actually, the summit has been done from 12 to 15 of this January month 2023, from 12th January to 15th January to 16th January, and 120 countries, 120 countries have been invited by our the Prime Minister. Just 9th January he pronounced it, and he's conducted 12th January from 6th up to the 16th January 2023. So this was a very rapid process, because G20's meeting is going on. 200 plus meetings will be happened through the G20, because of G20 has various mandates: economic front, cultural fronts, trade fronts, various international laws being discussed into this grouping. And India want to exploit this opportunity, because India thought that he want to become 2014 a developed nation. He has the mission for 25 years, because in 2047 India will be the 100th century year of independence will celebrate, and he wants to become a developed nation. He Prime Minister put forth, as Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was proclaimed that 2020 I will become the developed nation, but it is 37 year delayed. But as at 100th century year I will, it is predicted that in 15 to 20 years India will become the top second or third economy. It may, if this process that is going on, India's economy, India's GDP will multiply 10 times, in last 15 to 20 years. This is the prediction of World Bank. And many reputed institutions are proclaiming that India will become the top one or third economy by 2047. And we are also proclaiming that we will become the developed nation by 2047. So the global south is important for this, because the battlefield that is going to happen is the South African countries, particularly African countries, because China and India are two competitors in this zone. China's track record is not good. His policies little bit are exploitative in nature. This is very important statement. His policy is exploitative in nature. Those countries in which China's investments have gone, that countries actually paining. They are suffering. Let's see the Pakistan. First, let's see the Sri Lanka, Sudan, and Congo. Wherever they are going, they are exploiting. And they are picking those countries who are poor, politically destabilized. Okay. So they want to extract the resources from that. They did agreement with Taliban government on oil research. Even though they didn't recognize the Taliban government, our world also not has been recognized Taliban government, but they are cooperating with the Taliban and extracting the resources there. They have searched the coffer 2 years back. If you look, they cooperated with the Afghanistan government to extract the natural resources from there. And Pakistan, they are exploiting there. They have given too much debt which they cannot repay, and they are coming to their debt obligation. They are following their instructions because they cannot pay them back. So their actually investment breaking the bone of the country. So the country is looking towards the second option is very democratic in nature. The Chinese and Indian government is actually, two types of. One is authoritarian. He will not listen anybody's language. He only knows that his own interest. But a democratic nation elected by the democratic system is more competent than authoritarian government. Our policy is that I will work in your country with your terms and conditions. India is always saying that I will work with the country wherever I am going. He went into many countries in Africa and South America. And he said that I will invest in according to your terms and conditions. And China is saying that I'm investing because of it's my money and you have to cooperate with my terms and conditions. And they cooperated with Pakistan government. I'm giving you example. And he said that you don't disclose the agreement what we have signed. Nobody can access the document. CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, is agreement doesn't even went into the public What is going on? What was the term conditions? Gwadar and Balochistan peoples are, protesting against the fishing process. They are have been trawling the fishing and exploiting the resources, and the local fishermen is suffering. They are protesting against the Chinese development there. The term and conditions, if you cannot publish what kind of agreement you have done. Wherever he is going, they are exploiting them. And he is saying that you don't disclose what agreement we have done. You are a democratic nation. If any democratic nation does this, this is an authoritarian system. You just see that. You are the public office. You are in the public office. I am a democratic nation. We are the public. How cannot I will tell the people right to know what agreement we have done, what we are cooperating with, what we are doing. Nobody knows. What kind of system is this? Right to Information Act in India has been passed in 2005. Citizens have the right to know what government is doing. Indian government as a democratic cannot hide the document. He will tell the truth to the citizens because this is the public office. You cannot hide this. So, those countries who are cooperating with India, they are safe because their agreement is not being violated, being not hidden by the citizens. They can know, they have right to know what is going on, what agreement they have done. So it is kind of clarity, transparency in the system that is not opaque. So I would say that this is the actual reason by which the country is shifting towards India, and India wants to lead them. So that is the main ground which we have voiced the Global South voice, and we have conducted the summit, Voice of Global South Summit, and Prime Minister Modi chaired it on 12th January 2023. The political and economic, financial, and we have agendas. Everybody knows that G20 motto is the one earth, one family and one future, and human-centric approach we have adopted. And in this summit, everybody knows that war and global terrorism and conflict, geopolitical tensions and food, fertilizers, fuels, these are being discussed into the detail. So India's policy towards the global citizens is very clear and transparent and responsible. So I would say that stay tuned with me. I will make the following video about the world affairs, about what my government. I will go critical when topics comes. Okay. It could be my government or it could be anybody else. So transparency, as we are the global citizen, it is my responsibility to share clarity about what is going on. So thank you very much. Stay tuned with me and still subscribe and various things. You have to do it because it inspires me. Thank you very much.